Hey YouTube, I'm sure some of you have seen this news already yesterday because a lot of content creators covered it right away. Some of the moves updates for next season have been released. PVPOKE has already updated the rankings, so I'm going to go over how I was right. Essentially, I said, if you go back to my video 2 weeks ago, I said they are only going to nerf one move, and that's going to be Scald. And I said every other move is pretty balanced, and I thought they would buff grass. I said Tropius because Tropius is a flyer grass, so it can kind of cover Annihilate and thing. So they nerfed, as you're going to see here, nerfed Scald, nerfed Spark, so Lantern, buffed Seed Bomb, grass, and gave Swift to a bunch of different Pokemon and things. So yay me. Like, I just nailed pretty much everything, right? I said they're not going to change the meta. They're not going to do much. They're not going to change the meta much. You'll see the new meta because PVPOKE has already put it in. I was right about not the meta not changing. I was right about Scald being nerfed, and I was right about a grass move being buffed. And you can just see that based on the current meta, right? So let's just go to the current state of the Great League. Right? The current state of the Great League, as I've said multiple times, is water. There's like 15 water Pokemon in like the top 30. And a lot of it comes down to these mud boys who got Scald. So Whiscash and then Poliwrath and stuff like that. Poliwrath's not a mud boy, but it got Scald. So that's where the buff comes. Nerf is kind of needed because it's 50%. So the question is, I'm gonna go over all. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the entire list of moves. I'm gonna cover my face for a second just so you can make sure that you can see the moves, and then we're gonna discuss about them and its impact on the season. For the most part, it's not going to be much. And one thing that I have to look at is Typhlosion because the new rankings have Typhlosion not as high as some people are saying it should be. So let's go through all that right here. So covering my face just so you can see it. So Scald, chances to lower your opponent's attack. So right now it's at 50%. I think it'll probably go down to. Actually, I was finding because I was like, what does it have to go down to? Can't go down to 10%. That's too low. It's too useless. It has to go down more than 10% because 40% is too little. So it's probably be like 20 to 25% lowered. So it's going to go down to 30 or 25%. And I just kind of went through PVPOKE's. What does PVPOKE put in? They put in 30. They put in now 30%. So they reduced it from 50 to 30%. That seems realistic for what I think it is. I think if you go down to like 10, 15%, that's too low. I think if you keep it up at 40%, that's too high. So 25, 30% is the right for me. Spark going down from 6 to 5. Everyone was saying this is such a weird buff nerf for Lantern because the thing with Lantern was you were supposed to increase the energy with an increase in power. And they increased the energy, but they buffed power by 2. They buffed it from 4 to 6. So now they're going back to the 1, which is what everyone assumed should have happened the first time. Seed Bomb gets a buff, 60 to 65. That's good. Like, grass is underranked in this meta, so they need to do that. And then Swift goes down from 60 to 55 power, but there's also an energy decrease. So we'll just go over what that looks like potentially here. Okay, new attack moves. Thunder Punch for a bunch of Pokemon. Typhlosion, Railu, Lucario, Scraggy, and Scrafty, and Chestnut, and Palmot, and Lokix learns the fast attack counter. So I'll check out the stats on this thing because anything that gets counter is worth looking at. Cetadile and Cititan are getting Powder Snow. So this is another one that I'm going to look at that I haven't looked at in depth yet. Again, I haven't looked at any of these in depth. We're going to go over it in this video kind of on the fly here. But anything, again, this is what you need to, if you've been watching this channel for a while, I always say 3 things. Stat product, the typing, and the move set. And so when you see this list, Thunder Punch, I say the punches are underrated. Some people say Typhlosion will move up. I saw in the rankings it's not moving up too much. I'll go over why I think Thunder Punch is not a huge upgrade. But we know Counter is one of the best fast moves in the game. We know Powder Snow is actually like a really strong energy and damage combo move. So when I see Counter and when I see Powder Snow, right off the bat, these are three Pokemon that I know I need to look at in depth here. Dragon Claw. again, same thing. Dragon Claw is a pretty decent fast move. So we will look at this Nigandel here. And then Swift. A bunch of, like a crap ton of Pokemon got Swift. Clefairy, Wiggly are the sort of the only two on this list that I think are ones that I'm going to check out, and I'm just going to look at it from a stat product there. So I'll hide that. I'll put up the Windows capture again, and we will go back and forth. So just to give you an idea of how much the meta is not going to shift, here's the olds. Here's this season's. Let me see if I can make this smaller so you guys can see more. Perfect. That's good. So Registeel, Annihilate, Cresselia, Carbink, like this is the current season, and here goes all your water and buff Pokemon this season. And here is the preview of the next season. So Crest up 1, Registeel down 1, Annihilate, Carbink, Skarmory, Mandibuzz. Does it look familiar? So you still got your Mud Boys up here. It'll just mean that your Whiscash down Shadow of 2742, so that'll go down a bit. Poliwrath will go down a bit, right? 34. They're still good, right? Because a 20% decrease, it's still, the thing with Scald is, we're going over the moves in a second. Scald is still a good move, and it's still actually higher than it probably should be in terms of the damage. So lowering the by 20% is not bad. Let me look at the Swift Pokemon, see if Swift is on. Swift is not a move that is put on Clefable or Wiggly. We'll look at Swift in a second just to compare last season and this season. And let me just go at fast move counter to see if that new Pokemon jumps up anywhere. Thunder Punch Scrafty at 60. We'll go over Thunder Punch in a second. Not seeing anything there. Well, again, we'll look at it individually in a second here. Powder Snow. Okay, Powder Snow, Cedardile, XL, now up to 82. Powder Snow, Avalanche, Body Slam. So I'm going to look at all these Pokemon in a minute. I just want to do like a quick search here to do that. But overall, the meta is not going to change, right? Because they only nerf one thing, Scald, barely. Seed Bomb, let's take a look at if any Seed Bomb users jump up a bit. Trevenant up to 36, right? Trevenant was already kind of one of the better ones. But there's not a lot of other ones that use Seed Bomb, right? That's the problem. Grass is very, is a kind of bad typing in general for Pokemon Go. So Trevenant, a little bit of bump with Seed Bomb, probably bringing it back to the previous level. So what we're going to first do is you can preview old moves versus new moves. So, right, 50, Scald is right now 50 for 85, 1.7 damage per energy for a 50% chance, and they are assuming 50 in the new seasons, 50 for 85, 1.7, but 30% chance, right? So they're assuming a 20% decrease from 50 to 30% for the attack chance. Now, that's good, but it doesn't solve the whole problem. And what the whole problem is that the damage per energy is actually quite high for still having that overall energy damage combo with a secondary effect, right? So this is what we're talking about. Brine, I talked about, is one of the worst moves in the game. 50 for 60, 1.2. Water Pulse, 50 for 80, 1.45. We got some quicker moves here. 35 energy, 40 energy. Weather Ball, Aqua Tail, Surf, but still 55 damage, 65 damage is 1.57, 1.62. So now you jump up to Scald, right? And Scald is 50 for 85. So 1.7, you're already, for a 50 energy move, going higher damage per energy, which is slightly higher energy than these, so you expect a slightly higher damage. But you also have that secondary attack effect, right? So in terms of like the energy, damage per energy with the actual energy that it costs, it's already like a great combo. 50 energy for 1.7. That's like a decent combo. So 85 damage is decent. Plus you get Stab with these water Pokemon, same type of attack bonus. So now it goes over another 20%, gets you over 100. With a still 30% chance of lowering your opponent's attack, it's still a really strong water move. And that's why, yes, you can see in the new rankings that these Pokemon drop a bit. If we look at, let's look at Whiscash here, is 23-27. And in the new one, it is 27-42, right? And same thing with Poliwrath. Poliwrath is 31-46. And in the new one, it is 34-48. So they drop a bit, but again, it's still such a strong move that these Pokemon will still have a lot of play. So it'll change the meta up a bit. Maybe instead of seeing, but the thing is, like, Quagsire is still everywhere, right? So instead of using Scald, Whiscash, maybe you're now just using Quagsire instead, right? So that's the thing. I don't expect to see a huge trade with that. Seed Bomb, let's look at the charge move here. So Seed Bomb was 45 for 60, 1.33. And in the new season, it is 45 for 65, 1.44. So again, 1.44 damage per energy for a 45 energy move is still not good, right? We just went over Scald, which is 50 for 85, right? So 1.44 damage is not good. Yes, it's a slight increase to the damage of a grass Pokemon that needs to be buffed anyways to at least give grass a little bit of play in this meta. So it's nice to see. Again, the only thing that seems to have Seed Bomb that matters in the new season is Trevenant, 36. Let's take a look at what Trevenant was ranked here, 48, right? So a slight bump up for Trevenant. It was already pretty much your go-to grass Pokemon anyway, unless you want like to use like a pure Razor Leafer. It was already your go-to grass Pokemon anyways. So this is one. It's a nice little bump. I don't think it changes a ton for the rest of the Pokemon, but it's nice to get that. What else do we see here? Spark. Spark. So Spark is a fast move in this, right? And we kind of knew when they double buffed it, we're like, what are you doing? So you have what was 6-7, so 3 damage per turn and 3.5 energy per turn. Now going to be dropped to 2.5 damage per turn and 3.5 energy per turn. Should put, I think, a decent dent in Lantern. So 66 with Spark in the next season from 12, right? So that is a substantial nerf to Lantern. So two things here. With that much lower, I think you probably just go Water Gun because you actually get the same amount of coverage. So let me just look at Water Gun here with the new season. Yeah, so now your trade-off is you used to have the same damage but better energy with Spark, so there was no reason to use that unless you were hunting like Glygars. Now there's a pretty strong argument to use, not only just in the rankings, right? You could see Lantern with Water Gun at 32, Spark at 66. There's a pretty good argument to use Water Gun Lantern. And the reason for that is think of the meta, right? And let's just take a look at the next season. This is the next season meta, right? Think of what water can do. Like Gligar, like just think of what's still out there. Gligar is at number 6. So you'll now hit super effective with that instead of resisted spark. Quagsire, the Mud Boys, Swampert at 11, Quagsire at 8. You'll now have super effective against that. You will lose a little against like a Azumarill, but you're going to wall pretty much Azumarill anyways. The bubble's resisted. Your Water Gun's resisted. You still hit super effective with a Thunderbolt. So a lot of these sort of stuff that you would beat anyways were Spark to super effective. Azumarill, Skarmory, you're still going to beat them anyways. So giving up that Spark fast move for a Water Gun fast move will actually pick you up some of these other things while not giving up a ton here, right? Carbink is up here. Hitting super effective against that, right? So I don't think it's going to be that big of a loss, quite honestly. I still expect Lanterns everywhere. I would just expect them to run Water Gun. Yes, so it is a big hit to Spark, but because it has Water Gun, I still think that Lantern's going to be absolutely fine. And now Swift. Right? People have to assume what the energy is. So let us see what PVPOKE assumes. So currently 55 for 60, 1.09. Oh my god, this is an absolutely garbage move. Which is why, what are you assuming, PVPOKE? Let's see what you are assuming. Speculative, 40 for 55. So they are assuming a damage decrease of 5, and they're assuming an energy decrease of 15 for 1.37. And I think they're doing that because I think that damage per energy is going to put you somewhere similar to the punches at 1.37. All right. And this is kind of, or stomp, right? So it could be This is why they're assuming 1.37 right here. It could be, exactly, it's the punches. 40 for 50, I knew that was in my head. 40 for 55 are the punches. Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch. You're the same as Aerial Ace. You can be a Cloma Stomp. So it is, yes, a huge upgrade for Swift. The Pokemon that can learn Swift, I don't think are going to use it, right? So the two that came up to mind were Wigglytuff and Clefable. And if you are now going with a speculative 40 energy for 66, I guess you get stab on this. That's 1.65. So your options are, I think you, it's tricky. This is where it gets tricky. And first of all, we just need to see if this damage is actually the same. This is different because this gets stab. On Clefable, it won't. Let's just go to Clefable because it won't get stab on Clefable, which makes it just that much worse. So stab is same type attack bonus. So when you actually have a 40 for 55, 1.38, when you're using Fairy Wind, there's no real reason to run a low energy move like this. Fairy Wind is such a fast charging move. You want to use your fast charging to get to the Moonblast and get to the Meteor Mash, which do a ton of damage. There's really no point of running a quicker energy bad move non-stab. So that makes it's fine. Clefable will not use this move. Wigglytuff is an interesting one because Wigglytuff is half normal. So it gets the same type attack bonus, which moves that damage from 55, added 20% bonus, moves it to 66. So now you're looking at 1.65 damage per energy. It is 5 energy faster than Disarming Voice and Icy Wind, which you use now. You're using Wiggly as a charmer. So getting to a quicker move is a pretty good thing in that. Now, right now you're running Disarming Voice and Icy Wind. So on paper, damage per energy, Disarming Voice is obviously the way to go. Icy Wind is thrown 90% of the time because Icy Wind lowers your opponent's attack by 1. So if you can lower your opponent's attack by 1 and just charm down, that is a huge advantage to this. So the speculative moveset right now is still Icy Wind and Disarming Voice. And that is because Disarming Voice gives you that nice 1.87 stab damage, and Icy Wind lowers the attack. I would make the... you can make the argument for Swift here. The thing is, what do you pick up versus lose? Not much, right? Because you're still Disarming Voice, Icy Wind, all resisted by the steals. In fact, you would argue you probably want Icy Wind if you want to go against a Skarmory. You're going to get killed by Skarmory anyways, but if I can at least throw an Icy Wind on Skarmory, lowering its attack and hitting for neutral, that's better than a resisted Swift and a resisted Disarming Voice. Again, others would argue you're going to lose that matchup anyway, so who really cares? I don't know. This is one I'll have to, again, one, we have to see if the energy is actually what it says it is. And two, this is one that I may have to play and feel it out. Because a lot of the time when I'm using Wiggly, again, I don't love using Charmers, but when I'm using Wiggly, I'm mostly throwing Icy Winds to lower the opponent's attack, right? That lowering attack, and that's why people throw a 1.33 damage per energy move instead of a 1.87, because that lowering attack is huge for the damage that you take on the Wiggly and potentially on the next Pokemon. So overall, I think Swift is still not going to be a good move, but we will have to see it in action. The next is Thunder Punch. And this is an interesting one because if you put in Thunder Punch, which are now given to some of these Pokemon, Typhlosion is still down at 243. And so now for Typhlosion, what we need to do is we need to look at the stat product and we need to look at what this move does versus the other one. So the problem with this Pokemon is it is a glass cannon in the Great League. 132 attack, 108 defense, 117 stamina, right? 1675 overall, which means that this is a glass cannon. Super high attack, super low. So it's going to get deleted fast. So you need shields with it. It has Incinerate and Shadow Claw. Both incredible moves. Fast moves. So in terms of fast moves, Incinerate and Shadow Claw are huge for this. It also has Blast Burn, which is a huge Community Day move. And now you're getting Thunder Punch, which is it's truly a bait and coverage move for this Pokemon. And where this Pokemon struggled before is you had Blast Burn, which is a great Community Day move, but it is 50 energy, but you have good charge moves to get there. But then your second move realistically is as another Fire or Solar Beam, which is a huge energy move. So what Thunder Punch does is it gives you it's a bait move, realistically, because There is no scenario that I'm throwing Thunder Punch over Blast Burn if I only have one move left. In fact, maybe a super effective Thunder Punch is better than a resisted Blast Burn. I'm thinking of something like a flyer that resists fire. I don't want to use Mantine because Mantine's double weak to a Thunder Punch. So for sure you throw it against Mantine. I'm trying to think if there's a flyer that takes single effective from this, but not super effective from Blast Burn. Because honestly, I can guarantee that Blast Burn at 132 damage, if I only have one move to throw, resisted Blast Burn is going to do way, way more than neutral Thunder Punch. So really, you're only using Thunder Punch as a bait, or if it's like double super effective against Mantine. There's no other reason that you would use it. So why I think that PVPOKE's ranked is still showing it terrible, right? So this is 243 in the new season, and it is 389 and 421 in the old season. So it's an improvement, sure. Is it much of an improvement? No. For multiple reasons. One, your stat product still makes you a glass cannon, so you really need like the most incredible moveset ever. Your typing sucks. Fire is bad in this meta. Ground, rock, water is everywhere in this meta. So that doesn't help pure fires. Like rest in peace my Kanto Ninetales, which I loved using. It's useless to have a fire Pokemon in a water dominated meta. Yes, Lantern will be probably a little less. Yes, Whiscash will be a little less. Maybe Trevenant will be a little more, but not enough to make up for that typing, quite honestly. So I really don't think it's going to be that huge of an upgrade. Again, Shadow Claw, Incinerate, fantastic energy generating moves. So you'll get to the energy fast, but you're just going to need shields with it. So I wonder if I can Typhlosion with Thunder Punch, 15 and 26 record. And again, the only thing you're going to be able to do well with this is if you're like shield advantage. So let's go to 0-1, 33 and 8, and same thing in the maybe 2 and 1. You'll probably have a pretty good record here, 32 and 9. And that's the thing. You need to use this thing with shield advantage. With shield advantage, probably gives you a decent play. But in the 1 shield, 15 to 26, it's probably going to be even worse than the 2 shield because you're probably going to be taken out faster by a lot of stuff. Oh no, 21-20. I guess a couple baits here will do well. But overall, I don't think it's one that is worth using. Thunder Punch was Scrafty. Looks like it is using Thunder Punch. Foul Play Thunder Punch on Scrafty, 60 instead of 47. Okay, so it's down now. So the reason that is down is because with Power Punch, two things happen. One, it's a huge bait move and it buffs your attack. That counter can just kind of ramp up and get overpowered. So the difference in energy between Power Punch and Thunder Punch is 5. So it's not like you're baiting that much better with Power Punch. 5 is not inconsequential, but so it's a little bit of bait move. But I just don't. These punches, non-step punches, don't threaten me. What this is the only thing this is doing is giving Scrafty coverage. This is not a bait move. It already has a bait move in Power Punch. In fact, the bait move with Power Punch is better because it's a quicker bait move at 35, and it buffs your attack, which you can now hit way harder counters, which is already a great move. What Thunder Punch is doing for Scrafty is giving it a electric move to cover your flying weakness that you would not have with Thunder Punch and Foul Play. So something like a Thunder Punch on where you can only hit neutral power punches on, let's say, Mandibuzz, you're not hitting super effective with Thunder Punch, right? So you'll probably flip that matchup. I don't know if it's going to be that much of an improvement. I really think they need to buff these punches. I know Medi has these punches, so they don't want to do that, but I really think these punches need buffs. So yeah, I don't know if it's actually going to make that much of a difference there. Let me just open up this moveset one more time just to see if there's any other Pokemon. Okay, Lock 6 or whatever this Pokemon is, I would like to look that up. So let me see what your... Okay, is this Pokemon not even released? Oh, wait. Oh, it's still terrible. Sorry. Let me reduce this. So Lock 6 I gotta look up. I'm just gonna put all the Pokemon I need to look up here. Cetadile. And Setitan. and Naganadel. And I already looked up Clefairy and Clefable, and they don't make a difference. Okay, so the last thing we're going to look up here is these are 4 Pokemon. And these are their rankings in the new season. So I don't even want to look at the past season because the past season does not matter. So let's just look at the stat products for, I'm guessing these are the evolution. So 112, so the baby XL, 112 attack, 79 defense, 213 stamina. Wow. So a very, very HP heavy Pokemon, which makes sense at level 50. So you need a hundo and you need full CP plus best buddy. So you need to really max out this thing out. And then the difference between this and the evolution is your attack's higher, obviously 120 versus, oh, you can't see it, but I'll just tell you, and then let's move this. I can't do that. Okay. Maybe I can go out a bit. There you go. So 120 attack versus 112 attack, 75 defense versus 79 defense, and then 213 versus 203. So slightly lower stat product overall because your stamina is so high here. And your attacks, and then so the difference in levels, right? 18, your Setatan is at level 18 versus level 50 baby version. But the Powder Snow is a huge upgrade for the fast move. It only had Ice Shard, so you now have a very, very fast energy, decent hard hitting damage per with the nice energy. You got decent stat product with the baby version, okay with the adult. Lots of stamina there. Have Avalanche and a Body Slam bait. And you are just an Ice typing, so is your other version anything else besides Ice typing? No, they're both just Ice typing. So again, stat product, okay, decent, really high stamina, so we like to see that. Moveset, Powder Snow, huge upgrade there. The actual moves, Body Slam is one of the best sort of fast, hard-hitting moves, 35 energy, 1.71. With Avalanche, Avalanche is a huge damage, same type attack bonus, 2.4 damage per energy at 45 energy. So decent stat product. Now, good fast move, good charge moves. Typing is bad. Only 1 resistance against ice and 4 weaknesses that are everywhere. I mean, not everywhere, but fighting's everywhere, rocks everywhere, steel, and fire, not really. But 4 typings, counter being one of them. Kind of makes it tough to run. Again, I don't know how many XL people have on this Pokemon, so maybe most people will just be using this one, which kind of a little glassier. Same moveset though, but then again the typing. So again, stat product okay, decent attack, huge stamina, defense is terrible. So I'm guessing these charge moves are going to really friggin' hurt. But good movesets and bad typing. So that is this Pokemon here. The rest of these, this thing got counter, and I said anything that gets counter should be looked at. But right off the bat, 132 attack, so really high attack, 104 defense, not good. 121 stamina, not the worst, but not good. 1673 is terrible overall. Moveset, counter, one of the best fast moves in the game. Non-stab though, right? It is a Bug Dark. Ooh, that typing is crap, and that's probably why it gets killed. So bad typing. We'll go over that in a second. So good fast move, good energy, good damage, and then your charge moves suck. You'd have to run X's or Dark Pulse on this. I'm guessing this is a moveset. Yeah, X's or Dark Pulse. It's just that you're so glassy with 104, 121. You're very attack heavy. You need to use shields. In terms of damage per energy, X's are at 1.95 and Dark Pulse at 1.92 are pretty decent damage per energy moves for 40 and 50 energy moves. So those are not like the worst charge moves. I think the main problem is your typing. Dark Bug is not great for this meta. You resist Psychic again. There's not a lot of just Psychic Pokemon. So double resisting that's kind of useless. Resisting Ground and Ghost and Dark is decent. But being weak to specifically Flying, Rock, Fairy is not good. Bug is whatever, and then Fire too is again not a lot of fires. But I just think that like moveset, I'd say this has like one of the 3. I think this is like a glass cannon, so it needs to have shield advantage. with an okay moveset, not the best moveset, but not the worst, like a decent moveset, but just the typings are not good, especially for the current state of the meta. I'm assuming this is also going to play a lot of with shield advantage way better. 18 to 23 with no shield advantage, with 0, 1, 27 to 14, so that's not even that amazing with a full shield advantage. And honestly, that's not really good with a full shield advantage, which is kind of why it's ranked so low. And this thing even worse. Oh, did I say Dragon Claw was a charge move? Did I say Dragon Claw? Dragon Claw is a charge move and not Dragon Tail, Dragon Claw, which is a 35 for 50, which is not a great charge move. Sorry. I'm sure someone has already pointed that out. Stat product. Whoa, this thing is so glassy. 149. Holy attack stat. 149, 97. Sorry. That is brutal. And this thing is so small, like 17 and a half it maxes out, which means it's going to be so glassy. Poison Jab, decent fast move. Dragon Claw, again, not the best move. And then again, what's your second move here? A Sludge Bomb, which is, all these are sick, way too high energy for this glassy Pokemon. Yeah, so this is not going to be useful at all. So that's it. Again, this is what the meta is going to look like. So it should be very, very similar, right? Like I said, you'll see maybe slightly less Quagsires. Slightly more Quagsires, maybe slightly more Swampers instead of Whiscash. Maybe a bit of Trevenants with that buff, a little more Trevenants just to do that. But again, Flyers are still everywhere, right? Skarmory, Gligar, Mandibuzz. Flyers, honestly, Flyers maybe just got a little bit better, which is unfortunate. Because Skarmory had the resisted Steel Wing on the water Pokemon. Gligar took Super Effective from water. And now you have potentially more grass Pokemon in like Trevenant. So Flyers slightly higher. Probably why Annihilate maybe dropped like 1 or 2 because the Flyers just got a little bit of buff. But again, it's the same meta. Mandibuzz, Gligar, Quagsire, Lickitung, Azumarill, Bastiodon, Medi, Feraligatr, Guzzlord. Like this is Empoleon, Glade, Clodsire. This is not new. This is not new and it's not surprising, right? This is exactly what I said would happen. I called this perfectly. Again, not to say I'm the best there is, the best there ever will be. Throwback to Bret the Hitman Hart. That's about when I stopped watch wrestling, was like 25 years ago. But this is exactly what I said. I said Skull would be nerfed. I said Skull would be the only thing that's nerfed. I said they would buff a grass because there's too many waters in this meta. And they did that. They give a bunch of Pokemon different moves that probably won't affect the majority of them. This Powder Snow move, maybe you'll see a couple more of those. Again, the typing itself does not lend itself well to this. But overall, I think that it is exactly what I expected. So now I'm expecting... I called the moveset right. And I'm sure I am called the leagues right. Again, I expect a Great League, Ultra League, Master League. I expect a Great League, some sort of cup, Great League Cup every single week. We'll repeat some of the Sunshine Cup or Summer Cups or stuff that have happened in the past. We'll get those for probably 2 weeks in a row. And they're not even going to think about this for another 3 months. And that's exactly what's going to happen this Go Battle season. So that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.